Greetings, everyone. Jonathan here, coming to you from the beautiful city of Jerusalem, the most holy place in the world, and on the most holy day today of Yom Kippur. And I'm just celebrating here with a little bit of bhakti, a little bit of celebration of my own passions and dreams and projects that I love to focus on. And for me, every day when I show up to putting another layer of my grandeur vision into my computer, into the proposals that I'm writing, into the communications that are taking place, layer after layer, the playwright or the poet or the creator, the master creator, the quantum creator puts layers of intention and layers of awareness over their dream, and day after day it starts to take on form to become a masterpiece from the mind and from the heart into three-dimensional reality. From the quantum field, the field of energy that is always around us, that is always within us, and from the field we give birth to new life. We become the creator, the midwife of massive dreams, of great potential. And so today I wanted to share some of the insights that I've been hearing from the people who are currently in the Quantum Meditation Mastery course that I launched last week. Already people are sending me these amazing testimonials of just like, dude, oh my God, it's working. I had the craziest day at work today. People are basically showing up every single morning doing these meditations with a very specific sequence of everything from different things to actually think about, to going into no thought at all, to moving into the quantum field, going into the void, allowing for your body and your mind and your ego to completely disintegrate, so that we can then become one with everything, and integrating breath work and just going through this process guides people into breaking through the old blockages. And last night I was here in the streets of Old Town Jerusalem, and I was talking about how belief systems, or AKA our BS, our belief systems, oftentimes build up walls, and those walls cause boundaries, and they cause us to fight against each other. And it's like, dude, didn't you get the message? Didn't you get the download from the religion that, like, what is God? God is forgiveness, like, come on, like, let's get over it once and for all. We're all coming, looking at the same moon from the same pond, just from different perspectives. So essentially, when we can first start by breaking down those boundaries, the conscious boundaries or the unconscious boundaries of our programs, and we can start to kind of like chip away at the marble, suddenly we will reveal our masterpiece. And that masterpiece is essentially coming into deep oneness, into deep union with this present moment. And when you do, and when you are able to access that, that is when you are able to access flow state. But what holds us back? What blocks us from flow state? Well, being stuck, being frustrated, resistance, essentially. When we resist what is, when we are in a state of resistance or a state of suffering, then we're essentially just resisting the flow, right? We have to be able to navigate our life enough to the point where we can acknowledge that when shit hits the fan, when shift hits the fan, we need to be able to be in the point where we say, okay, this too shall pass, or everything happens for a reason, or something better is going to arrive because of this. Something better is coming. Something better is coming. How good can it get, and how quickly can it get that good? These are all different kind of like reframes to shifty experiences that can help you to transcend that. And so another one that I like to use is, and I do this with my friends all the time. It's like, they say, oh, I don't like doing that, and I say, okay, up until now, right? Up until now I didn't like doing that, or up until now I didn't like this type of religion, but now in this moment I affirm that I am open to reframing my perception around how we interact. And when we do that, when we catch our mind in the program and we wake up, we catch unconscious program running our show. We fall, we catch ourselves feeling those triggers of those emotions. When we do that, you become the presence of consciousness that has the ability to then shift your awareness to what it is that you want to create. And with this powerful prefrontal cortex, this neocortex, this ability to be malleable and to be neuroplastic and to be, shapeshifters of our reality and to, just like breathe and create new neurons and new connections about new neural pathways. That's the neurogenesis. Neurogenesis, it was previously thought impossible by neuroscientists, but now it's being proven that it's possible. We can create new neurons, new neural synaptic networks, and all we have to do is summon the energy of that which you want to create. And so, it just reminds me of this morning when I was meditating, and I was, feeling, it was a couple of days I had missed my meditation because I'd been traveling, I'd been in the desert, at the Dead Sea, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a good meditation this morning. I don't care if I feel like, I don't care how much work I got to catch up on, I'm gonna go deep this morning. And so I walk into the streets of Jerusalem, and I've got my backpack on and I've got my headphones in, and I'm gonna find a good spot to meditate in Jerusalem, in the Holy Land, on the most holy day, Yom Kippur. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going to meditate. I'm going deep. I'm going meta on this meditation, right? Sorry for that, but I'm going for it. And so, I find this beautiful little garden, and I'm just like, oh, this is it. This is the spot. Enough shade. It was cool. I sit down. I got my headphones. I put on my eye mask. I'm like in the void, and I start going yin. And every time that I go into meditation, it's fascinating to me because I've got now to this point. I've gotten to the point where I get excited about the process of breaking old neurons and new old connections and new old neural pathways. I get excited when I approach a wall that is like a blockage, because I know that I can use my awareness, I can use my energy to begin to melt that away and transmute that. And there was a few edges that I leaned into, and then I was in it, I went deep, and then I heard a voice say, okay, now get up and walk. And so I got up with my headphones in, and I started walking, and I turned the corner, and boom, there's a sign right there that says, Birthplace of Mother Mary, with an arrow in the door, right there, behind the building right next to the garden. Doors open, I walk in, there's nobody there, but there's this staircase that goes down into the earth, like a tunnel, like a cave tunnel. And I was like, oh man, this seems like, I don't know, it was kind of eerie, when there's like, multiple 1,000-year-old tunnels going into the earth. It felt like a movie. And I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm going in. I drop in. I dive in. I'm going circle after circle after circle, and it must have been 3 stories deep into the earth, all strong, just like this stuff, just solid rock, carved out these little tunnels that got smaller and smaller until I got to the very bottom, and there was this little room, and oh my God, the energy in there was so intense. And they had a few, little shrine areas with Mother Mary, and this was the birthplace of Mother Mary. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to meditate here. So I took my backpack off, I sat down, and I started meditating. And one of the things that I've learned in my meditation practice and in my flow practice is that there is always more flow when we call it in, when we summon it, when we ask for it. Right now in this moment, flow is arriving into this present moment. Right now in this moment, I am in the flow. You can try saying that, practice that. Right now in this moment, I am in the flow. I am the flow. I am the flow of infinite abundance right now in this moment. I am completely one with the flow for the greatest good of humanity right now in this moment. All of the resources, all of the tools, all of the insights, all of the epiphanies, all of the support is coming to me right now, and I'm making myself available to it now. Boom. Practice these affirmations. Write them down in the beginning. It's good to write them down. It's good to have those times when you're writing down the affirmations, when you're deep in the practice of waking up and writing affirmations. But then you get to a point in your flow practice when it just comes second hand. It just comes second nature. Like, it comes natural, and that's where we want to get to. And so I got there, and I was, there I was, synchronistic, I'm meditating, and I wanted to, find a power spot for my meditation. That was my intention, was to find a power spot, to find somewhere potent and powerful. And I found this garden, and I was like, I don't know what this garden is all about. I don't know if it has a history. I didn't read any of the signs. It was just really sweet, and it had it was a little courtyard next to this nice building. And then I went to the building, and that's where Mother Mary's birth was. So it's just like, whoa. So I'm in this meditation, and I just start calling in the spirit of Mother Mary. And for those of you just joining me now, like, I was meditating this morning at the tomb at the birthing place of Mother Mary. And so I was sitting there, and I was just like calling in the spirit of Mother Mary. And the moment that I did that, my whole body goosebumps, just like, and I just started breathing and working with that energy. Now, when I do this, I'm not super metaphysical. Like, I'm pretty metaphysical, but like, I'm not sitting here, identifying as like, oh, Mother Mary is my guide or anything like that. I'm not taking it to an extreme where, it's like, oh, calling in Archangel, Metatron. Like, I'm not there, but like, when I'm in the birthplace of Mother Mary, I'm going to call that spirit in and evoke that energy, right? Same thing that we can do in our daily practice. We can evoke more energy, the energy of flow. And so I spoke that energy, and immediately it cultivated, it catapulted, it infiltrated my body with this energy. And so I just resided there, and I just imagined what it would have been like to be Mother Mary, to be the woman who is going to have this immaculate conception, right? She didn't hook up with anyone. It was just like, out of nowhere, God made love to Mother Mary, and we just don't ask any questions, and that's okay, right? We love our mythology. I mean, if you're gonna be conceived, I mean, what other way would you have it, right? Like, of course it's immaculate. But so I was in that moment, I was impregnated with the spirit of Mother Mary, and it was good. It was immaculate, and so when I got that energy, it was interesting because rather than being overwhelmed by it, or rather than I don't know, I just started to play with that energy, and I started to cultivate that. So when you have these moments of flow and you feel yourself in the flow, it's important to start to cultivate that more and say, okay, right now I am in the flow. I am in the flow right now. And I actually started to move my energy. I lifted my hands up. I started to do some like Qigong energy and started to actually move that energy around and play with it and cultivate it and utilize it like an alchemist would. And so this is where it gets interesting, right? Because once you realize that you can call that energy in your meditation, you can call it in. You can call in any energy. You can call in any awareness. You can call in new insights. You can call in new clarity. You can call in new ideas. It doesn't matter. Play with it. And when you do this, you start exercising your capacity to evoke energy. And there's the invoke. There's the invocation of energy, and then there's the evoke. The evoke, the invoking, the invoke. So you're invoking and you're evoking. So when you're invoking, you're calling it in, and when you're evoking, you're calling it out. You're summoning it. You're cultivating it. Do you understand? So there's two kind of things there, because they talked about when we have an electromagnetic field of an atom or an atomic structure or a biological structure, in the same way that we do have a positive and negative charge. We release, and we have a negative cycle on the lower end of our body, and then in the higher end we have this brain, and we have our nervous system that's a supercomputer, and this is the positive, this is the negative, and so and every atom has a positive and negative ionic charge, and we have an electromagnetic field. We are living magnets. And so when, in the study of the pineal gland, I've shared before that, the pineal gland is covered in salt crystals. You can do the research on your own. It's a liquid crystalline superconductor that essentially has the ability to send and receive frequency beyond the speed of light. So you can't see it, but similar to Wi-Fi waves, there are frequencies, and we have the ability to have these transcendental, transformational moments by tuning in and meditating. And or you can just drink lots of fluoridated water and fluoride-filled toothpaste and a bunch of junk food, and then your pineal gland will calcify, and they will actually be able to see it calcified on a brain scan. They see this little tiny, almost it's like the size of a piece of rice, or like a pea. Like, it's a very small gland, part of the endocrine system. And it will actually harden if you don't keep your pineal gland calcified. And so in the program, the Quantum Meditation Master, I teach you different methods for decalcifying your pineal gland and for actually stimulating it. So working it out, because it only works if you twerk it, right? It only works if you work it. And so that's what it's all about. Getting those next level downloads, those light code downloads, light being, photons being the messenger particle of the quantum field of atoms. We're emitting photons. A biophotonic energy is being emitted from our bodies right now. And so essentially, if we can start to cultivate that awareness first, because knowledge is the precursor to experience. If you don't know about this shit, you're not going to be able to experience it. But the moment that you do the research, you start to learn, you start to practice, right? Because there's the knowledge, and then there's the embodiment of the knowledge. There's the affirmation, I am powerful, and then there's the embodiment of the affirmation, which is the incantation. The incantation, I am powerful. I am fucking powerful, right? I am, yeah, like, and you don't have to drop the F-bomb for it to work. I mean, but sometimes it helps. But, like, essentially, there's the invocation, the calling in, like, hey God, hey Source, hey Creator, hey Universe, bring me opportunities, I am ready. And then there's the, right now in this moment, I am generating wealth, I am generating value, I'm a generative source of creation, of opportunity. I'm a generative source. And when you do that, that's called affluence. Affluence is the source of which energy is emerging. Affluence is the source of energy. You become a generative source of affluence. And that is literally a muscle memory that you can ingrain into your neural pathways. It's something that when you practice it enough, when you go unconscious, when you practice embodiment in this method enough, when you go unconscious, you will fall back to a more elevated state of awareness, and you actually, like, I shift. I actually, like, boom, I'll do a little shake. I'll, like, snap out of it, and then I'll come back into my internal practice of awareness and cultivating the energy in which I want to reside in, and go back into that muscle memory and rekindle the fire of awareness. And immediately I'm tuning into higher degrees of potential, higher degrees of possibility, higher degrees of order, higher degrees of syntropy. Syntropy being the opposite of entropy. Entropy being the muscles are collapsing and falling apart. Your muscles are deteriorating. And syntropy being, everything is falling into place, right? It's like the idea of, like, rather than being paranoid, paranoia is like, the opposite is pronoia. It's like the idea is that the universe, like everywhere you go, the universe is conspiring for your greatest good, and like you can't go anywhere without magic happening, and it's like everyone's just, it's just, it's a shift. It's a shift of awareness, and when we can reframe and recontextualize what it is that we're doing, when we can choose to do things that inspire us, that we love. One way to stay in flow is to, ask yourself, what is most exciting to me right now? And do that. Start there. Go do it. Like, I've got so much shit I got to do. I got so much shift to create in this world. But I'm like, you know what? I got a message to share right now. I got some thoughts to like lay out there, and like, I have been, I'm just like feeling in the flow right now, and wanted to, share some of my heart and let you guys know what's alive for me, because it's just what I love to do. So if this is inspiring to you, let me know. I want to hear about this and what you're doing. Like, where are you at in your flow practice? Where are you at in your meditation practice? And if you haven't checked it out yet, the Quantum Meditation Mastery course is off the hook. It's next level. People have been sending me messages and being like, John, it's working. Dude, like, I'm hitting new strides. I had a little resistance, but I did this and this and this and that. And the bottom line is that it works. I do it every single morning. I've been doing it every morning for over a year, and meditating for the last 3 years pretty consistently. But the question just becomes, at what point will you finally decide that this is an important thing to practice? At what point, like, how much does the shit need to hit the fan, or how mundane does life have to be? How just monotonous and like, frustrating, and like how much hustle, like grind do we have to go through before we realize that we can actually tune into the quantum field of infinite potential, and that we can actually influence it through our awareness and our energy, that we can actually create a ripple in the field, and when we open our eyes, it may look as if you're in the same world, but you're on a completely new timeline. You're in a totally different reality. It worked for me today. I came out of that meditation. I had 2 meetings in the past 24 hours that were like strategic partners, that were next level creators, that showed up for me in ways that I could have not even imagined. Literally could not have imagined. Next level opportunities are emerging. Next level projects that are filling my heart with so much joy, with so much excitement, with, it's just like, when we are stuck in the program, when we're stuck in the old model of reality, in the Newtonian timeline, when we're stuck in that, it's hard for us to see that there's the infinite potentials that sit in front of us. We know it innately. We know that there's infinite timelines. We know that there's fucking magic can happen in an instant. We know, but we always say it's out there. Like, maybe once I do this, then I will tap into my infinite magic. Maybe then I will start to cultivate my consciousness to a point where I can become the mystic of my own reality. Maybe when maybe when this happens, then I will, invest time and energy into the evolution of my consciousness. But dude, don't you know? Quantum physics says consciousness is non-local. You can move your awareness to this present moment reality, or you can move it to a different dimension where you are experiencing a different level of ecstasy and bliss and joy and oneness with your divine purpose on this planet, with your sacred mission, with whatever it is that you're being called to do. That's doable right now. Second one is the principle of quantum leaps, non-linearity. So essentially, quantum field is non-linear. So here we are in this linear field. You can actually go from here to here, or you could go from here to here. You can go into the past, you can go into the future, you can experience different times. You can move your consciousness anywhere and actually receive information, receive insights, and that's what this meditation program is all about, is teaching you and training you to be able to navigate that and make this part of your daily practice, make it part of your a tool in your tool belt, so that you can tap into higher degrees of potential and frequency and opportunity, so that you can start to create from the field, rather than creating from the unconscious program or creating from the limiting belief structures. Because, you know, Bruce Lipton wrote a book called Biology of Belief. He says that 70% of the average human's beliefs are limiting and self-defeating. Boring. Like, sorry guys, I can't hang out right now. I'm just gonna go in my limiting beliefs and just cry about it, right? Which I'm joking, but I'm also being fucking serious, because I spent a lot of time doing that. I have my waves, you know. I have my highs and my lows. Usually when I'm sharing, I'm having a high, and that's one of my indicators. It's one of my triggers, saying, hey, it's a positive trigger. It's like, hey, I'm feeling in the flow right now. I'm gonna share it with the world, because that's one of my flow practices. The last one, so there's non-locality, non-linear, and then the hierarchy. Sorry, I'm having a loss for words. The tangled hierarchy, which essentially means that in any moment in quantum physics, you can essentially move your awareness from the current loop that you're in, the cycle of who you think and feel, who, you know, your reality up until now, the thoughts, the programs. You can be looping in that reality, or you can jump out of that reality and you can start looping into new reality. You have full permission to literally change your awareness and your consciousness, and when you do, your entire reality will change around it. It's amazing. And you could be like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, but honestly, again, it only works if you work it. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? And where attention goes, energy flows. So I could just like weave these weird little, you know, word plays all day, but, you know, all I'm gonna say is that the moment that you decide, you make that gut decision that from this moment forward, I'm going to make a shift in my life, shift will happen. It will happen. That's just the way it works, and it doesn't work unless you work it. Oh man, okay, now I'm done. That's it. I'm dropping the mic. I don't even have a mic. Well, actually I do have a mic. It's plugged into my thing, but sending you guys lots of love. If you're interested in the Quantum Meditation Mastery Program, send me a message. I'll send you a link. You can check it out. Also excited to be sharing with you guys the visionquestretreat.org. visionquestretreat.org. Check it out. It's going to be in Guatemala this year. 2020, beginning of the year. We just got some new team on board. John Jacob from Rhythmia Institute. Rhythmia is a plant medicine and kind of like a retreat center for plant medicine, and he's an excellent master teacher and facilitator. Excited to have him on board, along with Ronya and Gabriel, and also my brother Ben Yamano, who's going to be performing, playing music for us. So it is going to be an epic flow, you guys. So sending you lots of love. Let me know if you're interested in any of these events, and until next time, sending you good vibrations from across the nation, the Holy Land where all of the religions come to pray and say, hey to the source, hey to the one, hey to the rising sun, S-U-N. Every day we can receive the rays of consciousness, shine the light of your presence, become one with the essence of the most high, the one that we are until we die, and then we come back into one, and then we go into separation, and then we forget where we came from. But then maybe, just maybe, through synchronicities of flow and vibrations, you might remember where you came from, and then go shine like the sun. Peace in the Middle East.